Hi, I'm Robert Slaridan with your God Journals Nugget. This month we are talking about John G. Lake and his great healing ministry. We're also offering the special book of his unpublished sermons that I got from his daughter before she went to heaven, over 1,000 pages of his sermons. So I hope that you'll be ordering it this month as well. John G. Lake had a ministry that is outstanding. We look at it as one of the standards of healing ministry for us that are charismatic Pentecostal. But in the beginning of his life, he was a Methodist who didn't believe in healing. And he heard about a man named John Alexander Dowie in Zion, Illinois, that had a healing ministry. And he moved his life and his family to Zion, Illinois, and became an elder in Dowie's church. And this was toward the end of Dowie's ministry when Dowie made some mistakes, thinking he was Elijah and made some errors. But so John G. Lake knew that it wasn't going to make it very well. So he made this statement about Dr. Dowie. You can follow his faith, but you can't follow his doctrine. Sometimes people follow doctrine and don't follow faith. And many times that's why some things don't work out very well. But John G. Lake was able to remove himself from the errors of Dowie and go on to have a great healing ministry. He would go to South Africa and build the apostolic faith churches that are still a great movement there today with his great healing ministry. There's a story I'd like to tell you about what happened to him when he was in South Africa. He was praying for the sick, and there were so many, he got tired and he couldn't do it. So he went over and laid his hands on a rock and asked God to put the anointing that he had for that service on this rock, and said, all the sick people who needed healing, go touch this rock and then God will heal you or begin to transform your life. And so he left and went back home, and about a day or two later, they came back and said, you've got to come back to this area. There's been a massive revival meeting. People have been touching that rock and getting healed, and there's no preacher. So it's one of the great stories that even when you're physically tired, the anointing still keeps working, even if you put it on a rock, and people with their faith, they get healed. Another great story of Dr. Dowie's, or I should say John G. Lake's ministry, was in South Africa one time. There was a plague going through the nation, and they were dying, and people were scared, and so even pastors were dying. And John Lake was the only one that would be officiating funerals and burying the dead, and the doctors and the scientists said, you cannot touch the dead or you'll die too. And he said, when that virus or that germ touches his hands or his body, the law in life in Christ Jesus destroys the law of sin and death, and that germ must die. And they put some of the germ of that disease in his hand and put it under a microscope, and they watched the disease die, as the report was said. So the life in you and me kills every disease if we'll put it into action and believe it. I hope you enjoyed this month of John G. Lake and all of his great miracles and the pictures we'll have. Make sure you come every day to our page and look at it and share it with your friends. I'll see you next week.